Are you a business owner or employee who needs to network but is terrified of walking into a room full of people you don't know? Are you afraid of being left out of conversations or being awkward in the conversations you do have? Your tour guide, Faithann, is here to walk alongside you through the networking terrain, offering tips and tricks to network with ease. She'll also bring insightful interviews with successful business owners who have used networking to expand their businesses. Building relationships is the heart of networking, and generosity is the cruise ship that will navigate you toward those important relationships for your business or career. Grab your sunscreen and suitcase. Faithann is ready. Are you?
Hello there, and welcome to the Networkers Tour Guide podcast. I'm your host, Faithann. I'm glad you found the show. Networking is providing opportunities for others that they would not have except for you, so that you have standing to ask for those opportunities from those same people when you need them. How do we create opportunities for others, and how do we ask for those same opportunities? Well, that's what this podcast is all about. It's what I'm here for. Let's dive into episode 16. This episode is going to be the first episode in my series on your perfect elevator pitch. Often when we network, one of the components of the meetings that we attend is what we call an elevator pitch. And this is when everyone gets between 30 and 60 seconds to stand up in front of all of the people in the room and describe what they do, introduce themselves in a very short amount of time. When I started the Networkers Tour Guide, it was the elevator pitch that really propelled me forward in my business, because this is something I am so passionate about. If you think about an elevator pitch, think about undivided attention. You have the undivided attention of the room for that 30 or 60 seconds that you're being allowed to speak. And some meetings are not very strict about this time. It's a general about a minute. And then some meetings are very strict and they only want you to speak for whatever the time they tell you. Either way, you have the room's undivided attention. What a precious 60 seconds this can be if you really understand what to say and the purpose of your elevator pitch and what it's not designed to do and what it is designed to do. I want to start this episode by telling you an analogy. This episode comes from Tour 10. I'm looking for a young girl in a red hat. Now, I read this on Instagram, and this is an actual practice. I read the post about how to look for a lost child. And the point the author was making is that if you simply call out your child's name when you have lost your child, Emily, Emily, I'm looking for Emily, Emily, where are you, Emily? You are missing out on the advantage you have in a crowded room. And that advantage is that you have many, many pairs of eyes that could be looking for Emily. They could help you look for Emily if only they knew what to be looking for. So the author of this post said, instead of calling out your child's name when he or she is lost, you start describing your child. You start saying what the child is wearing, the gender of the child, about how old the child is. That way, there are a room full of people that can now help you look because they know what they're looking for. It's called looking loud. So instead of that frantic mother screaming, Emily, Emily, the mother should say, I'm looking for a girl in a red hat with a blue dress and black shoes. I'm looking for a girl with blonde hair who is 9 years old. I'm looking for a girl wearing a jacket, a red jacket. So you're describing the child so that other people can look at a child and know instantly, is this Emily or is this just some other random child? And this is a perfect analogy for you to remember when you have the undivided attention of the room. This is the approach that's going to be the most helpful. You want to paint a picture. Now, sometimes you're going to be in a room asking for referrals. So you're not asking the room, you're not trying to win over the room, you're asking the room, those people in the room, to look for referrals for you. Because networking truly is about bringing referrals. It's about creating opportunities for others so that you have standing to ask for those same opportunities when you need them. So one of the dangers we can get into is if we're selling directly to the room, then the people put their guard up. Oh, that's a sales pitch. But instead, if we're asking that person to help us look, help me find Emily, they can say, oh, okay, I can do that. And we want to paint a picture. And what do we want to paint a picture of? Instead of painting a picture of our lost child, we're going to say, what I'm looking for is that friend you know who is doing thing X, is saying thing Y, has just done this, is about to do that. So when we purchase, we don't purchase in a vacuum. One purchase leads to another purchase, which leads to another purchase. So our ideal clients are likely doing things right before they come to us, or our ideal clients are likely looking to do something big, and you're the person that's going to help them do that. Well, if we can educate the room on what those things are, and we can paint a picture in their mind of the activity to listen for, then you can help them bring you a referral. So I have two examples of this. I've done this successfully many times in both my window cleaning business. So my husband and I own a commercial and residential window cleaning business called Window Cleaning Plus, and we serve the Oklahoma City metro area. I've also done this for the Networkers Tour Guide. And I have two specific examples of doing this, looking loud, so to speak, describing your ideal client, which then led to business for me. Last year, around April, in my BNI chapter, I started mentioning that I was looking for in my window cleaning business. So I was representing Window Cleaning Plus. And I said, I'm Faithann with Window Cleaning Plus. I bring nature into focus for homeowners through our professional window cleaning services. I'm looking for the person in your life who has a hard time buying something for their mother for Mother's Day. Do you see how specific that is? I'm looking for the person in your life who has a hard time buying something for their mother for Mother's Day. Often, something that we have found is a great Mother's Day gift is the gift of clean windows. So I'm describing who I'm looking for. And you might say, well, Faithann, I can serve everybody. I don't want to narrow it down, because if I'm a window cleaner, I don't only want to help the friend who doesn't know what to buy their mom for Mother's Day. I want to help everybody. Yes, you do want to help many, many people. But again, you have the undivided attention of the room for 60 seconds, and you have whatever you want to ask for. That's what you have in front of you. Think of it as a buffet. You can pick anything you want. So do you want to ask for those clients that are kind of on the harder side of serving? Or do you want to ask for your ideal client? And if it's April and I know Mother's Day is coming up in May, my ideal client in April is going to be somebody who wants to buy a gift certificate for their mom for Mother's Day for window cleaning. So I don't need to ask for that every week. In December, I'm not asking for Mother's Day. I'm not asking for people to imagine who in their life has trouble buying their gift for their mom. But in April, I sure am. We do not eliminate people when we get specific. What we do is we put people in the minds of those people who are listening. Ah, that's my friend Mary. Ooh, yeah, that's my neighbor. He's always talking about how he doesn't know what to buy his mom for Mother's Day. Well, in my case, what happened is I started drilling on this specific elevator pitch. I did it for about 4 weeks in a row. The day of the week that was the closest to Mother's Day, one of my chapter members came up to me and said, I want to buy a gift certificate for my mother-in-law for Mother's Day, because I had put that idea in her head by being super specific. The other thing that we want an elevator pitch to do is to tell the room how to bring us up. Because another thing that I often talk about is I may be in front of your ideal client, but if I can't bring you up in a natural way, I'm probably not going to. I'm not going to walk into my grandmother's house as she's standing over her pot of chili, stirring it and saying, I'm not going to say, Grandma, you need better insurance. Call my friend, whoever. I'm not going to do that because it's weird. And I don't want to alienate people in my life. So I need a way. We need to tell people how to bring us up. So part of my elevator pitch is always, well, most of the time, sometimes I don't, but most of the time, it's who am I looking for and how do you bring me up in conversation? Now, I'll explain how to bring me up, what I use to bring me up with my second example. So this one, I was at a networking meeting with a bunch of women because it's a women-specific networking group. And in this group, I was representing the Networkers Tour Guide. I had just completed my referrals in 60 seconds playbook. And that's what I wanted to tell the room about, so that if somebody in the room knew somebody who had just started networking and needed help with an elevator pitch, they could refer me. So that was what I was there representing. And so I said, I'm Faithann Basor with the Networkers Tour Guide. Recently, a client purchased my Referrals in 60 Seconds manual and was able to craft an elevator pitch that drove curiosity and brought her ideal referral to her. This week, I'm looking for your friend who has just started to network. This week, I'm looking for your friend who enjoys networking, enjoys talking to people and passing referrals, but lacks confidence when it comes to the part of the meeting where she has to deliver her elevator pitch. When you hear your friend say, everyone else's pitches sounded better than mine, or I know what I want to say, but I just don't have the words to say it, ask her if she's considered looking for a resource that would help her create a curiosity-driving elevator pitch. And tell her she should talk to Faithann and introduce me to her through an email or a text. I'm Faithann with the Networkers Tour Guide. So I painted a picture. I'm looking for your friend who enjoys networking. So everyone can picture in their mind, the ladies there who were there could picture in their mind somebody they knew that enjoyed networking, but lacks confidence when it comes time to deliver her elevator pitch. So who do you know that you see at networking meetings that has a great time, but then will lean over to you and say, oh Lord, here we go. This is the part that I hate. And the phrase, everyone else's elevator pitch sounds better than mine, that actually came from someone else who told me that that's exactly what she heard her friend say. She said, oh yeah, Faithann, I was just at a meeting, and when everyone else is done, somebody leaned over to me and said, man, I wished I sounded like you. Everyone else's pitch sounded better than mine. So I didn't just make that up. That's actual words that came out of someone's mouth. And so I used those words and I said, when you hear your friend say, everyone else's pitch sounds better than mine, I know what I want to say, I just can't get the words out. So I painted a picture. And then the second thing I did is that I created a way for those ladies, if they discover that my ideal client is right in front of them, because I've described that person. I've said, I'm looking for the girl in a red hat with black shoes who has blonde hair. I've painted a picture. Now I'm going to give them the language to use to bring me up. So when you hear your friends say, everyone else's pitch is better than mine, ask her, have you considered looking for a resource that would help you create an elevator pitch and give you more confidence? That was my pitch. And after the meeting, someone came up to me right away and said, I need to know more about your thing. You're describing me.
Hi, listeners. Are you someone who struggles to make a great first impression when you meet others? Faithann has put together her guide to help you make a great first impression no matter where you are. This quick guide gives you simple tips to leave a powerful first impression, the first step to relationship building. Go grab this free resource today by clicking on the impressions link in the show notes.
So the cool thing is that even though I was asking for the people in the room to look for a specific type of person, the people in the room who that applied to put themselves in my story and said, oh, wait, that's me. So I didn't need to, quote unquote, pitch to the room. I'm saying, listen, this is who I'm looking for. Could you help me find this person? But then the people who it applies to, who you're describing, if you do a good enough job being specific and describing exactly their situation, and if you've developed rapport and if they trust you, if the need's great enough, they'll come right up to you and say, I need this thing, or at least I want to know more about it. So our elevator pitches need to paint a picture of who we are looking for. Now, if you want to do a more traditional pitch that you are pitching to the room directly, so you're not asking for a referral, you're making an introduction and you're creating curiosity about what you do, you can also do that. My recommendation, though, is if you are at a weekly meeting of any kind, BNI, Gold Star, Center Sphere. Those are the popular ones in Oklahoma. I would use the I'm looking for language. I would say I'm looking for this kind of person. I'm looking for this in a referral. If you want to make a general introduction, you still need to paint a picture. You just do it slightly differently. So if I was going to do an elevator pitch more designed to the people in the room, I would ask questions. Are you someone who struggles with thing X, thing Y? Recently, I was able to help a client achieve thing X by working with her specifically on thing Y, and together we were able to whatever that is. So asking questions is a great way to get people to pay attention, and then describing who you want in front of you. Okay, now I'm going to wrap this up. I'm going to do a whole series on this. So you're going to get lots and lots of information and tips and tricks about how to craft an elevator pitch through this series. And I'm so excited because I have people that I've been networking with for many years who are going to guest and tell you what they do and what they say. Also have a few people that I've lined up to help them create their elevator pitch right there on the spot. I'm so excited for you all because I think this is something that a lot of people struggle with when they network. They don't like this part of the meeting where they have to introduce themselves. It can create a lot of stress for you, for those who are nervous in speaking in front of people, who don't really know what to say. This can be a very stressful time, and we want to alleviate that by understanding the best way to go about this 60 seconds. It's the undivided attention. Don't squander it. Okay? Don't squander that undivided attention. As I wrap this up, we want a few things to know about what you don't need to say in your 60-second presentation or elevator pitch. And the reason why I'm being so direct and specific about this is because it's only 60 seconds, or it might even be less. So it's so important. It's like if you have a very small budget, you're going to be very particular about what you spend that money on because you have a limited amount of it. It's the same with your elevator pitch. You have a limited amount of words to use. And what you want to do is create curiosity and make it easy for people to bring referrals to you. Make it easy for people to bring you up in their conversations. These are some things you don't need to say. It wastes your time. How long you've been in business, how much you enjoy working for your company, how you started your company, why you started your company. Buzzwords, words that are specific to your industry that the broad amount of people are not going to understand. Now, the caveat for that is if you are in front of your very, very specific type of people that are in the industry you're in, then hey, use all the buzzwords you want. But generally, you're going to have lots of different types of people that you're going to be in front of. And so you don't want to use acronyms that only a few people understand. You don't want to use buzzwords, words that are overused, used to the point that they don't mean anything anymore. I'm real careful about using the word strategy. I might use it, but I prefer another word because strategy is overused. So no need to tell people how long you've been in business. You can do that in a one-to-one or your conversations before and after the meeting or during open networking time, but telling people how long you've been in business just wastes time. You don't need to tell people how many locations you have. It wastes time. I've never had anyone ask me for a recommendation with the caveat, Faithann, I would love to know the name of your good pest control person, but they must have been in business for at least 5 years. It's just not that important when you only have 60 seconds. And then the final thing that you don't want to do, which, I mean, this is my hot take on it. I'm going to lean into this. I don't know how popular, I don't think it's a very popular take, but it's mine. If you're representing 3 different companies, you have 3 different businesses, and you try and talk about all 3 in 60 seconds, you're essentially talking about none of them because people are not going to remember. Most often, you're having to stand out from anywhere from 12 to 20 to 30 other people in the room. So every person in that room has to remember 30 different pitches, or at least is exposed to 30 to 20 to 10 different pitches. And now you're going to add to that by saying, not only do I have 1 company, but I have 3. I recommend that you pick one. pick one, and it can change, but it's got to be one thing. When I started networking for the Networker's Tour Guide, it was a little bit difficult for me because I had been networking for years through Window Cleaning Plus. I'm Faithann with Window Cleaning Plus. We bring nature into focus for you. This week I'm looking for the homeowner you know who has just hired a cleaning service. These words were so natural, ingrained into my brain, and it was hard for me to have a different elevator pitch. There was a little bit of fear there. If I stop talking about Window Cleaning Plus, is Window Cleaning Plus going to suffer? But all of that, I weighed all of that, and I thought, you know what? People need to, if I want the Networker's Tour Guide to be top of mind for people, they have to only know me as one thing. So I may do this networking meeting that I attend regularly as Window Cleaning Plus, but this other networking meeting that I attend regularly so that people can learn to know, like, and trust me, they have to know me as one thing. It's too hard for them to know me as two different things because they end up not knowing me as anything. So our elevator pitch, one thing. Now, I've had clients say, but I have several things in my business that I want to talk about. I know, I do too. I have a Facebook group. I have a blog. I have a podcast. I have a referrals in 60 seconds manual. I have a class. I have all of these things too. It's 60 seconds or less. What's the one thing that you want to talk about this week, this month? What's the one thing? So if you're putting on a conference, then maybe 3 months before that conference starts, you're talking about that conference. And then when the conference finishes, you talk about the other facets of your business. If your business is seasonal, then you talk about one thing. You talk about Christmas lights from September to November, and then you talk about your power washing for the rest of the time, or your roofing, or whatever it is you do. So you don't have to abandon your other businesses or your other aspects of your business, but that 1 minute has to be about one thing. One thing. And then those people are going to picture somebody in their mind, or if your pitch is more directly, you're introducing yourself to the room and you're telling the room what you do and how you serve. They have to picture what they have to be able to put themselves in your situation. And if you're hitting those pain points, if you're touching on those circumstances that bring other clients your way, and if you've built trust, they're going to be saying, John is describing me. I need to go talk to John. Now, I do have a resource on my website. I do have a Referrals in 60 Seconds playbook that you can go, and it's $97. It includes 6 months of practice calls. I'm looking to change the model up a little bit, but as of mid-January 2025, that's what that resource is. If you need some help with your elevator pitch and you don't know what to say and you feel like you just fumble over your words, check that out at thenetworkerstourguide.net/products and see if that might be a good resource for you. Go network, my friend, and remember, look loud when you are giving your elevator pitch.
You've been listening to the Networker's Tour Guide podcast with Faithann Basor. Share this episode with a friend and be sure to come back next week for more networking tips and tricks from the Networker's Tour Guide.